everyone who comes here to help brings their own interest and expertise. And through that, I mean, this is sort of the Ukrainian horizontal democracy, but now open to the world, that, no one waits to be told what to do. Ukrainians are very resourceful. They can fix a lot of things on their own. And there's going to be, I think, increasingly a lot of people coming to try to take advantage of that rebuilding process, whether they come from China or from the United States.
And the editor of Ukrainian Freedom News, Joseph Lindsley, is in Lviv. Joseph, hello. And I'm still enjoying Brad Paisley's comments about his visit to Ukraine and thinking about you and what you've told us. Paisley is talking about how he's amazed at how quickly people fix or rebuild the bombed structures there. And we've talked about that.
Yeah, indeed, Bob. I mean, even in places, for example, in Kharkiv city, it's extraordinary. I've been in apartment buildings, like 12-story apartment buildings, where there are entire apartments that have been gutted by fire, and sometimes there are holes in these apartments from missiles. You turn into what was a living room, and there's a 10-story drop, and yet the apartment across the hall, someone is trying to repair it. And this is this amazing rebuilding effort. And I think also when we look at, as some people start to talk about support for Ukraine for the rebuilding process, I think we have to be very smart about it, because Ukrainians are very resourceful. They can fix a lot of things on their own. And there's going to be, I think, increasingly a lot of people coming to try to take advantage of that rebuilding process, whether they come from China or from the United States. And I hear a lot of rumblings about that now, and I think that's going to become a major issue.
And unfortunately, there will be a lot to rebuild. Russia launched overnight drone attacks on Odessa. And let's see, in the past 24 hours, the report is Russia launched 60 airstrikes. Has the area around Lviv been quiet, Joseph?
Yeah, indeed. It's still been quiet through most of the country. Last night was a bit unusual in that regard. There were the Iranian kamikaze drones that Russia uses. They sent 12 of them to Odessa. 10 of them were destroyed by Ukrainian air defense, but at least one of them hit an infrastructure facility. And so we've had these little incursions here and there when it comes to airstrikes. Otherwise, it seems, I guess many people everyone's wondering what's the next move from Russia. Are they perhaps, holding their best missiles to see if there is a counteroffensive from Ukraine and to be prepared to respond to that? Meanwhile, in Bakhmut, the Russians are proudly announcing that they've, day by day, they announced that they've obtained a new building, which when they say building, it means a building that's in ruins because everything is destroyed. But just imagine that, think about February 2022, when Russia thought they could take Kyiv in 3 days. And now the best news they can say is that they have another building in the city of Bakhmut, a small city, which is already destroyed. And so I think it puts it in perspective. But nonetheless, they are inching forward to control more and more of that city. And the fight rages there every single day. Meanwhile, here in Lviv, it's still, people are in this Easter mentality still, this festive season, beautiful weather, and it's calm here. We have so many visitors that come to our news bunker, whether they're soldiers or people coming to work as medical volunteers, and we give them a place to stay here as when they arrive into Ukraine. And today we had a visitor arrive from the Czech Republic, this guy named Jake Jakob. And since the early days of the war, he has been finding the hardest to find items like thermal vision and special first aid kits for the soldiers of the front lines. And people come to him with their request. And on his computer somewhere in the Czech Republic, he's been able to find all these things and get them delivered to Ukraine. And so he wanted to come visit. So he showed up today. And I was quite surprised. He's in a wheelchair. And he came here by himself, drove himself to a country at war, and is now going further on into the east, into the hotspots to help, undeterred by by being in a wheelchair and willing to do anything he can. He said he could drive a car. He can help in many ways. And so once again, I mean, we see these examples, every day, really. But the extraordinary heroism, not just of the Ukrainians, but of people from all over the world who come from all different types of situations and struggles and come here to give everything they can to help in this cause for freedom.
And we keep hearing from our listeners, many of them wanting to help, and we direct them to your site, UkrainianFreedomNews.com. Is that the best place for them to check that out, Joseph? Absolutely.
And right now we have a major focus on supporting this group called the Frontline Kitchen, which I've mentioned to you before. But it's basically a few Ukrainian grandmas, babusas, who they've been making ever since Russia invaded parts of Ukraine in 2014. They've been making meals for soldiers in the front lines. But now it's every day, I think every week they're producing 20,000 meals. These sort of dried borscht, and they even make Ukrainian natural protein bars with sort of ingredients from the forest. So they're giving soldiers home cooking, but in a way that's easy to use at the front line. You just got to add hot water, and they've attracted volunteers from all over the world, and they're very close to our news bunker, and so we're trying to support them. So UkrainianFreedomNews.com. We welcome any donations there.
Yeah, looking at a text from one of our listeners, it says, check out Canine Global Rescue to help animals in Ukraine, doing wonderful work over there. You know about them?
I've not heard of that particular one, but there are, this is, everyone who comes here to help brings their own interests and expertise. And through that, I mean, this is sort of the Ukrainian horizontal democracy, but now open to the world, that, no one waits to be told what to do. You just show up here and you say, these are my skills, these are my interests. And so I have seen, for example, a lot of people who, they love animals and they came here to care for the stray. There's many animals who are homeless. And in fact, as I mentioned before, many soldiers have adopted dogs that they met in the trenches, whose houses were destroyed. And they become great companions of the soldiers in these times, and actually can be very helpful in the fight, to detect the enemy nearby. But other animals are very traumatized. And so this is the magic of sort of this democratic system of anyone who wants to help to show up and help in different ways.
We continue to be impressed by the spirit of the folks in Ukraine and everybody who helps. Joseph Lindsley in Lviv. Thank you, Joseph. We'll talk tomorrow.
Thank you, Bob. Till tomorrow.
Thank you for introducing Ukraine on your social media pages. That's very important, that much more people can get more information about the situation here and how everybody can help Ukraine to stay stronger and to save all the world.
Что он сказал?
Well, which side are you on?
На чьей ты стороне?
Come on now. Oh, which side are you on?
На чьей ты стороне?